Well, South African Airways as well as the subsidiaries have featured prominently in the first part of the state capture inquiry report. Dudu Myeni at the helm at the time was chief among those fingered in the several dodgy dealings. There's growing calls to prosecute those responsible for the airline's grounding, but many ordinary South Africans also doubt anything will come from the release of the report. Our reporter Heidi Giokos is following that story. She joins us now for the conversation. Heidi, part one of the report touches on SAA as well as its subsidiaries. Now, it's obviously as clear as day that according to the report that under Dudu Myeni, SAA actually deteriorates.
Yes, and I'm going to actually speak to some of what was taken out of the state capture report, that Myeni created a climate of fear and intimidation. She was underperforming, she was incompetent, and there was a deliberate corrupt intent to dismantle governance procedures. And this all started unraveling, Faith, between 2012 and 2013, when Dudu Myeni became the acting chairperson of SAA board. The CEO at the time, ministers, board members and staff at SAA highlighted the fact that they could not understand why Dudu Myeni became the chairperson of the board, because many times she didn't show up for meetings, she wasn't present, she got involved in operational issues that were not part of her duties. She was not supposed to be doing that as the chairperson of the SAA board. Many questioned her relationship at the time with the president, Jacob Zuma, and that every time she was late for a meeting or needed to leave for a meeting, she would say, I need to go and speak to number one and discuss this with him. What's key here, and I think that many South Africans want to know and understand, is what happened to some of those deals that Dudu Myeni either stopped or implemented without fully consulting the board and truly understanding the operational matters here at play. Two specific deals that many people question and still to this day do not understand is an Emirates code-sharing deal that SAA had with Emirates that was about to be signed off. There was an air show that took place in Dubai, and at the very last minute, Dudu Myeni walked in and said, number one does not want this to happen, which was at the time the president, Jacob Zuma. And still to this day, nobody understands why that deal was stopped, because it was supposed to bring in millions, if not billions, for the national carrier. Another deal, there was a board resolution signed that SAA would lease about 10 aircraft. Dudu Myeni went and said, no, it's only 2 aircraft, without letting the board know that she had changed it. And at the end of the day, it cost the airline over 800 million rand, because that deal, there was so much confusion around that deal. So it's very clear that the state capture report has highlighted that Dudu Myeni was not the right person to chair the National Carriers Board. But also it's very difficult for the Commission to understand her version of events, because she failed to answer. She said she does not want to incriminate herself, and all that's been said about Dudu Myeni and all that's how she's been implicated is uncontested, because she failed to answer. I want us to go and listen to some of the interactions with the chairperson, Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, and Dudu Myeni.
The question requires you to say whether you know or you don't know, and that it may be an operational matter might mean that you don't know, but there may be operational matters that you know. So it's more about what you know or what you don't know.
May I then, I appreciate that you've given me clarity. Then can I then invoke my privilege to say I would not like to respond to the question in case I incriminate myself.
Well, Heidi, what was also said about former President Jacob Zuma in that report?
Well, former President Jacob Zuma has been slammed by the Commission. We do know that the report highlights the fact that Zuma actively advanced the interests of the Gupta family by assisting them to capture South Africa. Many are asking, well, was South Africa actually captured? According to the reports, in the very beginning of its paragraphs, even though it's only part one, it says that state capture was established. State-owned entities were used to the advantage of particular individuals and the Gupta family. But what's interesting here, Faith, is the fact that the Commission speaks to when Jacob Zuma left the Commission. Now, South Africans see it as he just walked out, but the Commission has labelled it as he fled the Commission. The Commission goes on to explain, and I will quote, "He couldn't justify his instance that Myeni be retained at SAA, nor could he credibly deny Gordon and Nene's evidence that he wanted Myeni to stay. He left because he couldn't answer as to why she was chairperson of SAA. There were many red flags. Ministers had approached the presidency. There were reports in the media. You had staff, board members resigning en masse, and still those red flags were just ignored." So the Commission's saying definitely there seemed to be some kind of relationship between the two, especially because at the time Dudu Myeni was also the chairperson of the Jacob Zuma Foundation. She was a director, rather, at the Jacob Zuma Foundation, and still to this day people don't understand why deals were stopped, but the Commission's saying he fled the Commission because he knew he could not answer.
Well, speaking about not answering, she said that she could not answer, obviously invoking her rights, but she also managed to answer about Mr. X, isn't it? Revealing the identity of Mr. X by Dudu Myeni, causing so much trouble at the State Capture Commission of Inquiry.
Yes, definitely causing a lot of trouble, and we do know that a criminal complaint was laid by the State Capture Inquiry, because it was very clear that Mr. X's identity should not be revealed because he worried about the safety and security of himself and his family. But who is Mr. X? Why is this relevant in all of this? It might not be linked to SAA, Faith, and its subsidiaries, but we do know that the Commission was able to trace Mr. X because he received money from Dudu Myeni's son's business to the tune of about 2 million rand. It was a payment from the company, which is V&A Consulting. V&A had been involved in a housing project in the Free State and had used some of the money it received on the project to pay Dudu Myeni's business. The money appears, now this is where I think many people are quite shocked at, because the Commission was able to trace this money. The money appears to have originated from the Free State government's coffers, being paid to V&A, then to Dudu Myeni's son's business, which is Premier Action, then Mr. X's bank accounts, then upon instruction from Dudu Myeni that the money be paid back into the Jacob Zuma Foundation. So it seems as though Mr. X was part of a scam or a scheme, whatever you want to call it, to move this money around for the Myeni family and then move it back into the Jacob Zuma Foundation. And of course, Dudu Myeni denying this. We have some kind of answer from her from the State Capture Inquiry where she says she does not remember anything, she does not recall anything because of the time frames. Let's listen in.
Ms. Myeni, in relation to the second two payments, remember I indicated earlier there was a payment in October, and then there was a payment in December 2015, and then there was a final payment in February 2016. Mr. X said in relation to those second two payments, the one in December 2015 and the one in February 2016, that you instructed him to pay amounts into a bank account, the number of which you provided to him. Did you do so?
I'm not aware of that, Chairperson.
Ms. Myeni, I just want to be clear, because when you say you're not aware of it, I want to be certain as to what precisely you are denying in relation to Mr. X's evidence. So that's why I'm just seeking clarity. So did you instruct Mr. X to pay money into your account, well, into an account you gave him in December of 2015 and February of 2016?
Because of the time frames or the timelines that you're referring to, I won't be able to recall. Remember, Chairperson, with respect, I've worked with the incumbent, just in case I make a mistake, Mr. X.
Mr. X.
I've worked with the person, I've known the family.
Yeah, man, it's absolutely bizarre. I think more than anything else, South Africans are waiting to see whether or not the recommendations from this report would actually be implemented and whether or not the laws of justice will actually turn. Heidi, we'll leave it there for now. Thank you very much for joining us on that one. Heidi Giokos, our reporter, just giving us the latest in terms of what this report says.